Have you ever tried to walk on water? Have you ever, I mean, like when nobody's looking, when it's just you all by yourself and you're around on a bank and you look out there and you think, I can do it, I can do it. You looked around and nobody was watching and you actually tried to walk on water? Be honest, have you done it? I sure have tried several times. Good morning, guys and girls. August 31. Can you believe it? We have used up 2/3 of 2020. 2020 has been a year that a lot of people want to forget. But can I tell you, I can look back at 2020 and some absolutely fantastic things happened. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, there was a lot of bad that went on in 2020. But, you know, the first 8 months, seems like there's been more problems in America than solutions. But what do you need to look to if you're looking to solving a problem? Well, you look to the problem solver, right? Let's see what we're looking at today. Matthew 14:30. Matthew 14:30. When Peter saw the wind and the waters and the waves, he became afraid and he began to sink. When Peter saw the wind and the waves, he became afraid and he began to sink. We all know that story. We all know that story. Jesus came walking across the water to the disciples. It was out in the middle of Lake Gennesaret, the Sea of Galilee. It's a freshwater lake. I've actually fished that lake. And it's a giant. It's like the Great Lakes. I mean, it's like you can't see the other side of it. That's why they call it a sea, even though it's a freshwater impoundment. And it gets rough and bad out there. And that was what was happening. It was rough and it was bad, and they were concerned. And Jesus came to them walking on the water. They first thought they were seeing a ghost. And Peter got out, tried to walk on the water, and was doing it. He was doing it. But then he saw the wind and the waves, and he became afraid, and he began to sink. You know, somebody told me the other day, he said, my gosh, he said, why did he sink? And Peter was a fisherman. He ought to know how to swim. Well, he actually did know how to swim. The Bible tells us that. It talks about a time when Peter ripped off all his clothes, dove into the water, and swam to shore to see Jesus. But evidently, he became so afraid then, he even forgot how to swim. He began to sink. The trick to casting accuracy and being able to cast accurately is to concentrate on the structure you're trying to throw near, around, or through. Don't fix your eyes on the spot where you want your lures to land. Look at what's near the spot. Concentrate on the spot you want to throw your bait around. Don't concentrate on the spot you want it to land in. It's amazing. I learned that years and years ago, the first time I fished the Chaffalay Basin down in southern Louisiana, around that Spanish moss that hangs from those cypress and sweet gum trees. And it hangs all around, and you need to throw through that Spanish moss that's hanging down close to the water in order to get your bait up close to a cypress tree where the bass was laying. It was around those cypress knees, and you had to throw through it. Well, I was aiming at those spots, and so many times, if you just touch that Spanish moss, your bait gets hung up. Your bait gets hung up in it. And so one guy told me, he said, Jimmy, he said, don't concentrate on where you're trying to throw your lure. Concentrate on that moss. You're trying to miss that moss. And I was throwing through little tiny holes. And if you just touch a piece of that moss, grab the hold of your bait. It's like a spider web. Grab the hold of your bait. And so I started doing that, and that became the key to casting accurately, concentrating on the structure that you want to throw around rather than the place where you want your bait to land. We all know that Peter began to fail when he looked at the wind and the waves. He looked at the problem. He took his eyes off Jesus, the problem solver. What a great lesson. Success with Jesus, failure without him. That's it. Success with Jesus, failure without him. That really sums up God's entire plan for mankind. Isn't that amazing? The God that spoke the world into existence. Maybe a lot more than the world we live in. The God that spoke universes and galaxies into existence has got a plan for us, and the plan is very, very simple. Very, very easy. Success with Jesus, failure without him. Success with Jesus, failure without him. What do you want to accomplish today? What's your goal for today? What do you want to say at the end of the day? Wow, great day. I made a great day. Here's the secret. Fix your eyes on Jesus. Don't look away. Don't look at the problem. Don't look at the circumstances. Don't look at the impossibilities. Fix your eyes on Jesus. You and I might never walk on water. We might not accomplish the impossible. But then again, we just might with Jesus. We just might. And I got to tell you, I can name a few things when I did things and accomplished things that quite honestly was impossible. I didn't do it. Jesus did it. Oh, God, what a great devotional. That is a great devotional. Everybody loves that story. That's such a great story. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Keep God first in your life. Honor him in everything you do. You can accomplish the impossible. Here's our tip for today, and this is a great one also. If you don't use a fly rod, and many people don't, I've done a little bit of fly fishing in my life, not a tremendous amount. We've done a few fly fishing shows over the years. We've been getting a few comments lately asking us to do another one, and we will. I actually had a buddy of mine fish with me this past week. He caught several nice bass, and he got his fly rod out to catch a few big bluegill, caught several nice bass on it. Actually had 2 flies taken away from him too. He was fly fishing in a place where we were catching a lot of big bass. If you don't use a fly rod, try fly fishing with a long, light spinning rod. The rods that we nowadays call crappie rods, and they're 10, 12, 14 foot long. And I love to crappie fish with these, but you can actually take these rods and kind of use them a little bit like a fly rod. You can use them just about the same. You can actually put a little reel on them, and they become just a lot like a fly rod. So if you want to experience what fly fishing is like without going out there and buying you a brand new fly rod, you can actually use those and do it. You can do it with actually a 7.5 or 8 foot light spinning rod also. But if you'll move on up to a 10 foot, 12 foot, you'll be able to experience a little bit about what fly fishing is like. Now, it's not the exact same because you actually have a totally different setup as far as your line is concerned mostly. But you can kind of get an idea what it's about. You can get an idea what it's like to fight fish on those big 10 and 12 foot real light action rods. It's absolutely a blast, absolutely a blast. Guys and girls, we've used up 2/3 of 2020. We've not missed a single day, and some of you, many of you as a matter of fact, have been here with me every day since January 1, even though we had this over on the Jimmy Houston Outdoors YouTube channel, which the Jimmy Houston Outdoors YouTube channel is doing great. Well over 70,000 subscribers on there now, and it's just doing absolutely fantastic. The Catch of the Day channel is just about double this last month, so everything's just going really, really well on that. But if you're not subscribed to the Catch of the Day, if you just jumped in here to get a devotional, a fishing tip, this will change your life because you're starting every day in God's Word. Guys, girls, go out there and have you a great one today, and remember, I love you.